From the very morning when the first rays of the sun, like lazy applause, greeted the new day, Olivia woke up in her cozy apartment in the very heart of a sprawling metropolis. She had always seen herself as the master of her own life, a carefully curated wardrobe, impeccable makeup, and a cup of aromatic latte on the window-side table. All spoke of a world arranged according to her own meticulously planned design. But, as it turned out, life sometimes loves to throw surprises that even the most well-laid plan cannot foresee. On that fateful day, Olivia got up as usual, planning a workday filled with important meetings and projects. However, when she opened her mailbox, she found an envelope bearing the logo of the company where she had worked for the past 7 years. The envelope looked as ordinary as all the previous ones, but when Olivia eagerly unfolded the letter, she felt her heart stop. In large letters on the first page, it read, "Notification of termination." The first lines of the notice sounded formal, yet for Olivia they were like a bolt of lightning. "Your services with our company have come to an end, and we must cease our cooperation." Every word cut into her soul like a knife through the thin glass of her hopes. Feeling an inexplicable chill in her heart, Olivia sat down at the table, trying to understand how it had come to be that her fate had suddenly changed. Her thoughts darted around as if in a film where everything seemed unreal. Have I really become just another statistic in corporate downsizing? With great difficulty believing what had happened, she decided that now was the perfect time for a cup of strong coffee, the very beverage that had always helped her gather her thoughts, even when the world around seemed absurd. As soon as Olivia headed to the kitchen corner, the phone rang. The screen displayed the name of her longtime friend Isabella, a woman with infectious laughter and a sharp mind, who always managed to find humor even in the most ridiculous situations. "Olivia, dear, you know that today is your day," Isabella began, her irony unmistakable. "The day when fate decides to show you that even a dismissal is an opportunity for a new beginning. Imagine now you have more time for shopping and maybe even learning yoga." Olivia tried to smile, but sadness shimmered in her eyes. Inside, a strange mix of anger and astonishment took root. Anger at the injustice of fate, and wonder at how the world around could be so capricious. At that moment, she could no longer imagine that the day would bring yet another surprise that would turn her life completely upside down. After returning home from a short walk to contemplate what had happened, Olivia noticed something strange. The door to the bedroom was slightly ajar, and from inside came voices filled with laughter and soft conversation. Cautiously she approached and heard Edward, her husband, whispering affectionate words over the phone to someone whose voice was too tender to be that of a casual colleague. "Oh, Victoria, how glad I am that you—" That fragment of the conversation was for Olivia an instantaneous realization. Her husband was betraying her trust. In that instant, a thought flashed through Olivia's mind that both made her laugh and filled her with sorrow. If getting fired is fate's joke, then it looks like my husband has decided to stage a farce in my name. With pain and a kind of mixed admiration for the absurdity of the situation, she felt her life transforming into a theatrical production, where every event was yet another act of absurdity. Unable to contain the swelling pain any longer, Olivia stepped outside, where the city seemed to mirror her inner turmoil. The streets appeared cloaked in the shadow of impending change, and passers-by, like incidental extras, hurried past, unaware of the drama unfolding in the heart of a woman. But then, amid the bustle, fate prepared her yet another surprise. At the street corner, she encountered an eccentric street performer who, upon seeing her dejected state, began energetically cracking jokes about how getting fired was actually an invitation to a ball of fortune. His jokes were so absurd and sincere that even the passers-by couldn't help but join in the merriment, and Olivia, unable to hold back, began to laugh quietly. This humorous encounter seemed like a sign that life wasn't going to dwell on a single tragic note. Olivia remembered how not long ago she had dreamed of romantic evenings with Edward, of their shared plans and bright future. And now dismissal, betrayal, and absurd coincidences that made her smile through tears. Maybe it's time to change the script, she thought, feeling that inside her not only pain but also a resolve to take life into her own hands was awakening. With each step along the busy streets of the metropolis, Olivia became more convinced that even in the darkest moments, one can find a spark of humor. She recalled Isabella's words, which, despite their apparent lightness, carried deep meaning. Sometimes you have to let fate play its wicked trick so that you can later take on the role of the heroine and rewrite your own story. If life gives you lemons, why not make a cocktail with a touch of playful irony? She smiled to herself, and that thought, like a light at the end of a tunnel, began to illuminate her path. Returning to her apartment, Olivia closed the door behind her, as if separating the past from the future, and with a mix of anxiety and determination, she sat down at the table to make a plan for the new phase of her life. The first item on the list was to deal with the bureaucratic formalities of her dismissal. But even this seemingly dull process turned into a source of humorous mishaps. An awkward HR employee, notorious for his clumsiness, had brought the documents without signing them, and in his attempt to rectify the mistake, he staged a comical scene comparable to a farce. Olivia couldn't help but laugh as she watched this hapless man, like an actor in a comedy series, trying to explain that signatures, of course, are important, but sometimes life dictates its own terms. Strolling through her apartment, she recalled all the little things that once seemed unshakable: the cozy sofa, shelves filled with books, photographs on which she smiled, not knowing that behind every smile lay an impending drama. Every detail now seemed to symbolize change, and Olivia, with her characteristic determination, began gathering everything that reminded her of the past, perhaps to later create an archive of awkward moments. After all, as the saying goes, if life throws you challenges, throw a party in their honor and invite all your friends. Yet the sharpest blow of fate was yet to come. Later that very evening, as the city was beginning to sink into twilight, Olivia heard loud laughter from the neighboring apartment. She approached the window and saw Edward, as if having forgotten the existence of marital vows, spending time with a woman with fiery hair and a dazzling smile, clearly unafraid to display her cheerful mood. The scene struck her as so ludicrous that a thought echoed in her mind. Oh, if only life were a TV show, the ratings would skyrocket. But behind this grotesque comedy lay the harsh reality of betrayal, which made her heart ache. Unable to contain the storm of emotions any longer, Olivia stepped onto the balcony, where the cool night air mingled with her hot tears and laughter simultaneously. In that moment, she realized that her life would never be the same. Every little detail, every mishap was forming a vast kaleidoscope of fate, where tragedy and comedy intertwined into an inseparable web. Could it be that this is the very moment when I must stop fearing change and start living as I desire? She pondered, feeling a new strength blossoming inside her, a strength capable of overcoming any obstacle. And so, standing on the threshold of a new life, Olivia made her decision. Let the dismissal be the starting point for her own transformation, and let Edward's betrayal serve as a lesson that she would turn into a source of inspiration for future successes. She decided that she would no longer wait for fate to write her script. Now she would take the pen in her own hands and begin crafting her story filled with humor, unexpected twists, and genuine emotions. With that thought, Olivia sat down at her computer and began typing the first lines of her diary, in which she planned to record all the absurd and touching moments of recent days. Every key, like a symbol of new hope, responded with a gentle, almost musical tap, and the sentences arranged in paragraphs already promised that astonishing changes lay ahead. If life throws you challenges, she thought, maybe it's time to throw a party in honor of these challenges and invite all your friends. And that sincere laughter echoing in her head marked the beginning of a new chapter. A chapter where every tragedy transformed into a comedy, and every betrayal became a reason for bold actions and daring dreams. The night slowly descended upon the city, granting Olivia time for reflection and planning. She remembered how, as a child, she had dreamed of grand adventures, of one day becoming the heroine of a true novel filled with strange coincidences and incredible encounters. And now, standing on the threshold of a new life, she understood. The world is full of opportunities, and even the most painful moments can become the beginning of something truly magical. Every sound, every shadow outside her window turned into a symbol of change, and her heart beat in rhythm with a new cadence filled with bold hopes and humorous discoveries. Olivia realized that the road ahead would be long, filled not only with tears but with genuine laughter. Her soul, shattered by the bitterness of loss, was gradually beginning to mend under the influence of irony and self-assurance. In each new day she found small joys, the smile of a random passerby, a joke overheard on the street, and even a funny anecdote from the HR employee who had managed to turn bureaucratic absurdity into a real spectacle. Thus, on that very night, as the city sank into silence and the streets bore witness to her inner turmoil, Olivia promised herself that tomorrow would be a different day. A day when she would no longer be a prisoner of circumstances, but the captain of her own ship, steering through the storm of changes toward a bright future. "If life gives me lemons," she whispered softly, "I'll make the most delicious and amusing lemonade ever tasted." And that thought, filled with determination and humor, illuminated her gaze like a bright star guiding her through the darkness of night. In this way, the first chapter of her story became a kind of farewell ritual to the past. The dismissal from her job and her husband's betrayal seemed to be merely the opening chords in the symphony of change, where each note, however bitter, carried the promise of a new dawn. Olivia realized that life isn't just a series of tragic moments, but an opportunity to laugh at one's own misfortunes, transforming pain into art and losses into a springboard for new achievements. That night marked the starting point of her journey, one filled with unpredictable encounters, amusing situations, and, of course, genuine laughter capable of drowning out even the loudest roar of fate. Olivia could no longer look back. The past was just a vivid echo of who she had been, while the future promised her the chance to become the heroine of her own fairy tale, full of humor, adventures, and unexpected twists. And so, as the first rays of dawn began to dispel the night's darkness, Olivia, with a new perspective on life and a soft yet confident smile, looked out the window and realized, today marks the beginning of a new era, an era in which even the most painful trial can become a source of inspiration and genuine joy. Fate, which had so cruelly thrown a challenge her way, turned out to be nothing more than a humorous anecdote in her book of life, an anecdote that she would rewrite on her own terms, with irony, courage, and endless optimism. After that fateful night when destiny played a cruel joke on Olivia, the morning of a new day brought her not only a bitter taste of disappointment, but also a strange, almost comical feeling of liberation. Olivia awoke to the sounds of a rousing alarm clock, which seemed to laugh along with her at the absurdity of life. Her first morning after the revolution in her personal life turned out to be as unexpected as her dismissal, a mixed cocktail of laughter, tears, and an unforeseen desire to start all over again. Deciding that there was no room for gloom today, Olivia prepared a strong coffee, so strong that it seemed as if the coffee itself was winking at her from the mug, promising, "Today we will be victorious." Sitting in her kitchen, she began crossing off plans from her past and drafting a new script for her life, one in which she would be the leading lady, and every blow of fate would transform into an opportunity for a comic twist. Her first goal for the new day was a walk along the city's main street. Olivia had long become a fan of people-watching, the kind of onlookers who, like her, bore the marks of a life filled with both joy and pain. Today, she was particularly lucky. On the corner of one of the intersections, she encountered a man in a bright vest who was trying to explain to passers-by that he was hosting a master class in dancing in the rain that very day. As it turned out, the rain was running late, and instead of its melodic patter, funny comments from the crowd about how even nature hadn't managed to appreciate his talents filled the air. Olivia couldn't help but laugh, and that laughter became her signal. Yes, life can be absurd, and that's precisely its charm. Walking down the street, she recalled how just yesterday her soul had been boiling with emotions over Edward's betrayal. But today was not a day for bitterness. Her eyes drifted over shop windows where bright signs offered discounts on new beginnings and sales of happiness. Even the random sound of a street saxophonist playing on the corner seemed to her like a magical melody, inviting her not to be despondent, but to dance to the music of fate. Olivia stopped at a small stand selling fragrant pastries and, unable to hold back her smile, ordered the largest bun, deciding that if life throws you lemons, a bun is also a kind of solace. Lost in her thoughts, she headed to a cozy cafe where people were already gathering, seeking comfort in a cup of hot chocolate and warm conversation. At one of the tables sat her longtime acquaintance, Miss Lauren, a quirky artist with an inexhaustible supply of ideas and jokes, whom Olivia always called the Queen of Humor. Noticing Olivia, Lauren waved happily as if the meeting were an unexpected gift from fate. "Oh, darling, you look as if you've just stepped out of a movie with an astonishing finale," she said, sitting down and ordering another portion of cappuccino, adorned with froth in the shape of a smiling emoji. "Movie?" Olivia asked in surprise, chuckling at herself. "Yes, imagine. Life is a comedy with elements of melodrama, where every scene is full of surprises," continued Lauren, waving her brushes as if to explain that even in the darkest paintings, there is always room for bright strokes. Their conversation exuded not only support, but also a subtle hint that every trial opens the door to new, amazing opportunities. A few hours before lunch, fate decided to surprise Olivia once again. At the city market, where life was bustling and vendors loudly offered fresh vegetables and fruits, she ran into an old acquaintance, Mr. Bennet, a man renowned for his ability to tell incredible stories about the most absurd work mishaps. He immediately noticed the sparkle in Olivia's eyes and, wasting no time, began recounting how he once had to get fired from his position in order to throw a feast for the whole world due to a mistaken order for an office printer. His tale was so funny and simultaneously tragic that everyone present could not help but laugh while also feeling sympathy. "If getting fired is the end, then I say, it's just a new scene in the play called Life," he exclaimed, and even the elderly bystanders who watched the scene joined in with applause. Olivia listened to Mr. Bennet's stories, realizing that her own story was only just beginning, and that even the most painful moments could be turned into a source of inspiration. Every random passerby, every word spoken that day, seemed to instill in her the thought that no matter how harsh the world might seem, it is capable of gifting moments of sincere laughter and warmth. Even the thoughts of Edward's betrayal, which had filled her heart with pain just yesterday, now receded in the face of this new reality, a reality where every blow of fate could be turned into a humorous anecdote. The day went on, and Olivia began to understand that her personal tragedy was not the end of the world, but an opportunity to rethink her life. At the office, where she had once greeted colleagues with a smile, she had to face the final formalities of her dismissal. It turned out that the bureaucratic system could be comical in its own way. The HR employee, known for his tendency to make clumsy mistakes, once again put on a show by forgetting his wallet and the document confirming his identity. His attempts, accompanied by nervous laughs and awkward movements, reminded Olivia that even in the bleakest moments, there is reason to smile. Well, she thought, if I must leave this stage, then let it remember me as the brightest star. During yet another encounter with bureaucracy, Olivia suddenly realized that she had found the time and energy to open something greater, a personal creative project. Her mind raced from the idea of writing a book where every chapter would be filled with sincere emotions and unexpected twists of fate, to the thought of starting a new video blog where she could humorously recount her adventures. It was in that moment she decided that the future belonged to her, and that even dismissal and betrayal were but small parts of the grand spectacle she was about to stage for the whole world. Inspired by this thought, Olivia returned home, where in every room, as before, memories of the past still hung. But now these memories seemed not burdensome, but rather interesting artifacts, reminders that life is a series of unexpected turns. She carefully spread out all the papers related to her dismissal on the table and smiled as she thought, if fate has decided to stage my drama, then I will answer it with laughter and new dreams. Sitting at her old desk, Olivia began to write the first drafts of her future stories. Funny, touching, absurd, but always sincere. She described the humorous moments of the day, her encounter with Mr. Bennet, the clumsiness of the HR department, and even the random laughter of the street performer who so skillfully turned an ordinary day into a celebration. Every line she wrote was like a brushstroke on the canvas of a new life, where the bright colors of pain and joy, sorrow and hope mixed together. Thus passed the second day of Olivia's new life, a day when, despite all the trials, she found within herself the strength to laugh and dream. A day when every encounter with fate was met with a smile and genuine laughter, and every trial transformed into an opportunity for creativity. Her mind buzzed with thoughts that even more unexpected twists lay ahead, and that she was now ready to face them head-on, armed with courage, humor, and faith in a brighter future. In the evening, as the sunset painted the sky in hues of pink and gold, Olivia found herself once again wandering through deserted streets, where every sound and rustle reminded her that life is a dance filled with unexpected steps and improvisations. She paused by a small fountain, where the water seemed to quietly sing the melody of a new beginning, and pondered how astonishing it was that even after the bitterest losses, one could find a reason for laughter and hope. Reflecting on the day, Olivia realized that despite all of fate's blows, she had managed to discover within herself a strength that transformed pain into genuine laughter and tragedy into a source of inspiration. Every new day is a chance to change the script, she thought, and if fate is ready to throw challenges my way, then I will answer it with dance and laughter. That thought lit up within her like a star and propelled her toward a new decision: to keep moving forward, to seek joy in every opportunity, and to transform every tragic page into a funny and magical story. The next day, Olivia decided it was time to broaden her horizons. She signed up for an improvisational theater workshop, a place where, according to the instructor, each participant can become the hero of their own comedy. The hall was filled with people, each of whom was searching for their path to freedom and laughter. Within the first few minutes of the class, Olivia felt all her fears and pains begin to recede in the face of creative freedom. Here, among people capable of laughing at themselves and life's misfortunes, she found the sense that even the most dramatic plot could be rewritten as a farce. The session was full of amusing moments. One participant accidentally mixed up his line with a prop. Another, while trying to reproduce a dramatic scene, instead elicited an eruption of laughter from the audience. All of this made Olivia believe that laughter is the most powerful weapon against life's hardships. After the class, she met a young actress named Emily, who told her that theater not only helps to dispel pain, but also to find new meaning in life. "Sometimes," Emily said with a sincere smile, "it is precisely on stage that we discover the freedom we have dreamed of all our lives. Here you can be anyone, even if the past has left scars. The key is to know how to laugh at them." Those words resonated with Olivia like an invitation to a new beginning. She felt her heart fill with determination, not merely to endure the trials, but to actively change her life. Every laugh, every genuine smile she encountered that day became a building block for her new identity. She was no longer the woman fate had tried to break. She was becoming the heroine ready to write her own script, filled with adventures, laughter, and unexpected twists. So, as the sounds of the evening city filled the air and Olivia made her way home, she felt that her life would never be the same again. Every step, every encounter led her to the understanding that happiness is not the absence of pain, but the ability to laugh regardless of it. Her thoughts drifted back to Edward, whose images now seemed to her as cartoonish and unreal as scenes from a comedy series. "If fate has decided to stage a farce," she quietly thought, "then I'm ready to play my role with brilliance." This resolve, mixed with subtle irony and an open belief in tomorrow, became a true revelation for Olivia. She understood that many more trials lay ahead, but now they were seen as mere funny lines in her own endless spectacle. With each passing moment, she felt more strongly that life is a dance, where even the most absurd moves can lead to an unforgettable finale. Under the starry sky, as the nocturnal city slowly drifted off to sleep, Olivia was ready for a new day. Her soul, though weathered by trials, shone with warmth and laughter. She knew that new acquaintances, funny mishaps, and moments when the pain of past losses transformed into genuine laughter and inspiration were ahead. That day was not just another step. It was a true dance with fate, a dance in which she was no longer a victim, but the confident mistress of the stage, ready to write her story filled with light, humor, and endless possibilities. And so, to the sounds of the night city, and in the company of new friends, Olivia closed her eyes, promising herself that tomorrow she would wake with even greater strength to continue her journey, a journey full of laughter, dance, and unexpected adventures. Tomorrow awaited a new act, a scene where every page would be filled with genuine emotions, comical situations, and, of course, a bold belief that even after the harshest trials, life can gift us the brightest and most unforgettable moments. The next morning, Olivia woke up with the feeling that her life was finally ready for that ultimate turning point, the moment that would finally transform all her past trials into a source of strength and inspiration. Despite the storm of emotions raging in her soul, she had long understood that life does not forgive dwelling on the past, but rather grants the chance to rediscover oneself, step by step, with each new dawn. After countless encounters, humorous incidents, and heartfelt conversations that made her laugh until she cried and weep with joy, Olivia decided that it was time to close one chapter and begin another. Her final step towards complete rebirth was as symbolic as the previous ones. She organized a grand gathering for her new friends, those who had shared both moments of pain and instances of genuine delight with her. In a cozy hall decorated with colorful garlands and candles, many people gathered, ready to listen not only to tales of sorrowful losses, but also to a story of bold victories, where every wound turned into a star in the sky of a new life. At a table laden with dishes prepared with love and a generous dose of humor, Olivia rose to deliver a speech. Her voice, trembling with emotion, began to recount how losing her job and her husband's betrayal had become an unexpected gift from fate, a lesson that repeatedly made her realize that sometimes it is in the most painful moments that the potential for the greatest changes is hidden. She spoke of how, even if life writes a script full of absurdity and ridiculous twists, every person has the opportunity to write their final chapter in such a way that laughter and tears merge into a symphony of victory. Today, she said, I want to thank each and every one of you who has been with me on this journey. For every encounter, every spark of joy, and every tear that has made me stronger. I have come to understand that pain is not an enemy, but a wise teacher, which, even as it makes us cry, shows us the importance of laughing and loving. For that is what real life is all about, transforming tragedy into celebration and defeat into triumph, she declared with a sincere smile, and the hall erupted in thunderous applause. In the following hours, people shared their own stories, like fragments of a vast mirror reflecting many faces of life. Some recalled funny moments at work, others shared tales of disastrous dates, and still others simply laughed at the absurdity of everyday existence. Every story was filled with genuineness, and that evening the laughter was so infectious that even the darkest memories began to fade in the light of friendly support and understanding. After the official part of the evening, Olivia and her new friends dispersed into the cozy corners of the city, where they continued discussing the night over cups of hot tea and aromatic coffee. Walks along streets illuminated by the soft glow of street lights turned into a true celebration of a new life. Every step seemed like a symbol of liberation, a symbol that even after the harshest trials, the soul is capable of rising again, renewed and radiant. Later, back at home, Olivia sat by the window and watched as the city slowly awoke to the sounds of the peaceful night, where every passerby was a small hero in their own story. In her mind, the words of that old, kind-hearted street performer echoed once again, a reminder that fate is not the final chord, but merely the introduction to the greatest spectacle, where everyone can be the director of their own destiny. And it was precisely this thought, filled with humor and quiet confidence, that became the final note of her day. With a light feeling of gratitude and boundless hope in her heart, Olivia closed her eyes, imagining how the new day would bring even more opportunities for joy, creativity, and laughter. All the trials she had endured, like feathers on her wings, gave her the strength to soar higher, confidently facing any storm and transforming every drop of tears into a sparkle of happiness. Thus, the finale of this chapter became simultaneously the beginning of a new story. A story of a woman who found within herself the courage to smile in the face of fate, laugh at her mistakes, and shape a future where every tragic note transforms into the melody of true freedom and joy. Olivia understood that life would always be full of surprises, but now she knew. Even the darkest moments can be illuminated by the light of genuine laughter and self-love. And so, beneath the gentle shimmer of the morning lights, Olivia took a final breath of the day gone by and, with quiet yet steadfast confidence, whispered, "Thank you, fate, for the lessons, for the laughter, and for this new life." That moment became for her a symbol of rebirth, a final chapter where every loss turned into a gain, and every pain marked the beginning of a new, astonishing story.